Megumi's amazing potential has been made obvious throughout the series, whether it be by Satoru Gojo or the King of Curses Sukuna himself, or various other characters who are taken back when Megumi decides to go all out and be more selfish in terms of his own capabilities as a sorcerer. And overall, the history and reputation belonging to one of the great three big clans, as well as possessing the 10 Shadows technique. But as of right now, that potential is yet to be fully realized, as Megumi has ways to go, whether it be just basic hand-to-hand combat, completing his domain expansion, or for the topic we will be covering in this video, amassing up to 10 Shikigami. We will be discussing his potential, future Shikigami, and their powers, and what it could mean for Megumi as a fighter and his potential. If you follow the Jujutsu Kaisen community, you may have already heard that Megumi's technique is based off the real 10 sacred treasures of Shintoism, called the Toku Sanu Kandakara. These 10 treasures consist of 1 sword, 2 mirrors, 2 magatama, which are basically jewels or beads, and 3 higher, which are basically scarves. The 10 treasures also have their own symbols that correlate to the specific treasure, and these symbols are also found on Megumi's Shikigami. But something that is interesting is that not all Shikigami possess one of these symbols. Out of his known Shikigami, his 2 divine dogs possess the symbols of the Jewel of Plenty and the Jewel of Turning Back the Road, which both are now combined on the 1 dog totality. Jewel of Life, or the Jewel of Resuscitation, they look very similar, is on Orochi, which sadly was destroyed by Sukuna. The Mirror of the Deep is on the Toad, Mirror of the Shore is on Max Elephant, and the 8 hands longsword, which seems to be the same as the wheel and sword belonging to Mahuraga. But both Nu and Rabbit Escape do not have a symbol anywhere on their bodies. So there's a possibility that Nu and Rabbit Escape could potentially be destroyed in the future of the series, but not just the unmarked Shikigami are at risk of destruction, but the marked ones as well. Because we've seen before that Megumi has had 1 divine dog and Orochi destroyed in the past, so it's possible that when Nu and Rabbit Escape get destroyed, there is a chance that a new Shikigami could possess one of the remaining symbols of the sacred treasures. And if a marked one does get destroyed, it could pass its mark to a Shikigami that will take its place. At this point of the story, we have not seen a new Shikigami take the place of Orochi, so we do not know if the symbol could be passed on, nor do we know if it will be another snake. It could be an entirely different looking Shikigami, but we do know that it is not the same case as the divine dogs, as we've seen the white divine dog pass its symbol to the black dog after its destruction. But like I said, this is a different case, as both divine dogs were given at the same time together to a 10 Shadows user, so they are a package deal. And when Orochi died, its symbol was not passed to Megumi's other Shikigami, which likely means only the symbol can be passed to a Shikigami that takes the place of a destroyed Shikigami. So what importance could these symbols mean to the remaining or future Shikigami Megumi will obtain? One thing I would like to discuss is involving Mahuraga. He is the only Shikigami who doesn't have a symbol, but actually has these symbols in the form of the actual treasure, which is the cursed weapon, the Sword of Extermination, which is meant for exercising curses, as we've seen even Sukuna say he would have been in trouble if he was not in a vessel. But I believe there will be 3 more of these special weapons that will belong to 3 future Shikigami that Megumi will obtain. Although another possibility could be that every Shikigami could possess an item or cursed weapon like Mahuraga based off the real treasures. But this is unlikely, as Megumi's current Shikigami do not possess any. So it is likely that only 4 treasures could possibly be given to 4 Shikigami, Mahuraga being one. Of course, this is where the theory falls on its side a bit, as Toad and Max Elephant possess both of the mirror symbols and do not have a cursed treasure like Mahuraga. But like I said, the possibility for some Shikigami to be destroyed and have their symbol passed on to a new and different Shikigami is there, when then that Shikigami could possess or be given a cursed weapon based off the mirrors. Another idea is every symbol of a similar treasure must combine to unlock that certain cursed treasure, whether that be a cursed treasure of a mirror, jewel, or scarf. An example would be the divine dog, which is halfway there. But as you know, with Mahuraga, there is only 1 treasure and symbol that represent a sword, so this will not apply it to it. And we have already seen Megumi combine Shikigami with his Toads and Nu to create the Whale's unknown abyss to fight Todo when they first met. But again, as Nu does not possess a symbol, we cannot see if the symbols could combine through the shadow signs Megumi makes. So we would have to see a combination of Toad and Max Elephant to see if the symbols combine and are given a cursed treasure based off the mirrors, or just certain Shikigami like Mahoraga would be given that cursed treasure. Now let's say Megumi Shikigami do eventually obtain 3 more cursed treasures just like Mahoraga's Sword of Extermination. What would be their abilities? As the Sword of Extermination envelops in positive energy and is designed to exorcise curses. The 2 real mirrors are the Mirror of the Deep and the Mirror of the Shore, and if we think of the Jujutsu capabilities, it's possible a mirror curse weapon could have the potential to either reflect Jujutsu attacks or absorb Jujutsu attacks and release them back to the enemy, making it a devastating weapon with defensive and offensive capabilities. A curse weapon which is a jewel based off Jewel of Life, Jewel of Resuscitation, Jewel of Plenty, and Jewel of Turning Back the Road. Based off these names, it gives off meanings of almost reversing something and healing. So a jewel curse weapon could possibly have the ability to use reverse curse technique on Megumi and other Shikigami, potentially reviving other Shikigami from destruction as well, and perhaps could even give Megumi energy and potential buffs in his physical attributes and his Shikigamis. And as we know, Megumi is a rare Shikigami user who still fights in close quarters but lacks the power of people like Todo, Maki, Toji, and Yuji, etc. As for the 3 real scars, which consist of the snake repelling scarf, the bee repelling scarf, and the scarf to ward various things, if made into a scarf curse weapon based off these names, its ability could have to do with repelling curses with a scent or having the ability to create some unique way to disorient curses and opponent senses for the user to create openings in combat. Overall, these special curse weapons will increase Megumi's fighting abilities and his Shikigamis as well, but of course, the Shikigami will come with their own abilities separate from the curse weapons also, because we have seen Nu use electricity, Max Elephant use water, Rabbit Escape can multiply, and Mahoraga can adapt to any and all phenomena. Although it's also possible they do not come with special abilities, as Divine Dogs, Orochi, and Toad do not have it. With all this being said, another main component for this theory is, I have a hard time believing that Megumi or any 10 Shadows user in the past were able to become strong enough to rival the Gojo clan's Limitless and Six Eyes. For example, in chapter 117 we see Megumi flash back to a conversation he had with Gojo, in which he said during the Edo or the Ketcho period, a user of the Limitless and Six Eyes like him and a 10 Shadow user like Megumi fought to the death. And this is where I have a hard time believing that the Zenin clan head, even with a complete domain, maximum techniques, etc., was able to keep up with the Gojo clan head, having the Limitless and Six Eyes, which basically do massive repelling attacks in red, massive attraction attacks in blue, giant hollow purples which just instantly destroy all matter in its way, infinity which slows down attacks coming their way, teleportation, a domain expansion that literally turns your opponent into a vegetable with all the information shoved into your brain. And if that wasn't enough, they could use domain and these other techniques multiple times due to the Six Eyes, which drastically decreases the amount of curse energy usage. So if the Zenin clan only had dogs, a snake, toads, a elephant, Nu, rabbits, and whatever else without any other Shikigami potentially not having any cursed treasures like Mahoraga's sword, to me it's kinda unbelievable that any 10 Shadow user could keep up with a Gojo member with all of that. And keep in mind that no one in the history has ever been able to exorcise Mahoraga. Megumi states that the clan head possibly used Mahoraga as a last resort to take the Gojo head with him. But it is my belief that the Gojo head had to be injured and tired to the point Mahoraga could take him out. Because in my opinion, just like Sukuna took out Mahoraga pretty easily, I believe a Gojo, even our Satoru, would do the same in a 1v1. So it is more likely that the Zenin head had to have other stronger Shikigami and abilities to keep up with the Gojo head until the point he had to resort to using Mahoraga. It's still apparent that Megumi still has a long way to rival someone like Satoru, but the main component in all this are the Shikigami, and it's evident that his Shikigami now and in the future will become more powerful, whether it be through combination of Shikigami or new Shikigami being exercised and obtaining special items. Either way, Megumi Fushiguro has ways to go to amass his 10 Shikigami and be the first shadow user to fully tap into the potential of the 10 shadows technique that no one has done before.